Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about education system and how we can actually change the education system in order to bring our country into a better place and in order to engage all our pupils in this activity of being more educated and being in a place where uh, no one's going to be jobless or held in hostage without any jobs. And let's get into it. So the first point I want to talk about is how I'm going to relate our country's education system to one in Japan. So basically, the Japanese have a technique where they pass out children from grade 8 to university. So basically, it's like they have multiple amount of subjects between grade 7 and 8, and at last they pass out the child from grades which actually they take the most highest mark from all those subjects. So let's say we have given the subjects of biochemistry, physics, and maths. I'm just saying because like normally they put in like 12 or 11 subjects and they choose the best one that the child is into. But then in this case, I'm going to take maths, chemistry, bio, and physics. So those four ones I'm going to take. And let's say he's going to get the highest mark for physics. So he's going to be put through the physics stream and he's going to be put into a university where they do all these physics subjects. And once he enters the university within our grade, like within the grade 9 system, he's obviously going to be doing a course which satisfies his or her path, and that's how uh, they go on towards new heights in education. And that's why I actually want to relate towards their system, is because I guess that the way I see it is children have a better perspective of their mind, like when it comes to their mental status, like when it comes to their, sorry, not a mental, like their knowledge status, it's gonna be quite high because they have like 2 years while we spend grade 8 and grade 9 doing O-levels and all that stuff. Basically, they start to enroll in uni at grade 9, so they have much more of a big time to engage themselves in their path and their career path, and to develop their applications basically, because when it comes to career, the applications is what counts the most. And quite like there's an adequate amount of theory that's required into a job career, but then like the part where you have to apply is most crucial part, and they get to do those type of practicals also. And that's being engaged within a small age at grade 9 onwards until they're going to be out from uni is such a knowledgeable thing to talk about. And another thing that I wanted to bring out is, unlike the system that we have in Sri Lanka, they don't have anything like the year 5 scholarships or O-levels or A-levels like that, which actually gets me to this fact, because in our country we have grade 5 the grade 5 scholarships, and basically children are being sent to tuition while they're in like grade 3, grade 4, or while they're in grade 5. And they get pressurized a lot, which I see is a very a bad thing to do to a student, because like the more the child builds up pressure, the more he or she won't be able to focus on his or subjects, and the more they're pressurized, the more they tend to work on, but for not for their name, but then for just for the sake of doing it, which I don't think is right. If you are doing something, and if you are doing your job if you are doing job also, it should be a thing that you should do with your own passion. If somebody is just trying to force you to do it, just don't do it. Just you need to stop it, because that's just building up stress. That's just building up a monotonous life routine, and that just overall sucks. Now, when it comes onto our education system, as I said, this year 5 scholarships has made such a negative influence on children, because I'm saying in this perspective because there might be out of like 10 and 15 people who are like really good at these scholarships, and they get good marks without any ease, and like they get good grades and all that stuff, but then good scholarships also towards other schools. But then that's not the case, because there are some children who find it really hard to study, and it's mainly because of the stress that they're being put by parents. And another thing that I wanted to mention is, when it comes to parents, the thing that matters most in education is the competition that parents have between each other, just to win their child over another child, and to bring out the best in their child, and so on. And then that drives the competition between children, amongst children, and then that gets too tensed up, because what happens at last is either the child gets too stressed up and ends up in a mental facility, or they end up doing some harm to themselves, and that's how the pressure builds up. Because as we can remember, I think like before, like 2 or 3 years ago, it was a case where a child who had failed his year 5 scholarships had jumped off to a train and taken his own life away, and there had been numerous amount of children who have been beaten by their parents for not getting such satisfactory results. And I don't see as to why a child needs to get forced at such a young age to do this type of stuff, because if I'm correct, our parents have had a time during their childhood where they've been engaged in all these, fun activities, getting down into the paddy fields and playing and whatnot, because it was just pure fun, flying kites and all that stuff. But then, like in our case, in these days, it's just a whole polar opposite, because what we have is a bunch of children who go to tuition day in, day out, and it's just a monotonous routine for them. And then that's how we see the education system in Sri Lanka. And to get back to the Japanese system over here, I just want to mention now, as I said, they go in their own stream, and that's how it is in Japan. So they enroll in universities at grade 9, whereas we are still at the peak of entering into O levels, which is somewhere around grade 9. So they have a much more. They're much more of a knowledgeable year or two before they enter into their jobs, which I think is really necessary, because once you head into a job, you need to actually know what you are doing and where you stand inside your application side and all that stuff. Because trust me, without applications being done thoroughly, they'll actually kick you out from jobs. So that's how people have reviewed it a lot. So another thing I would like to talk to is, in their country, jobs like art, sculpture, masonry are jobs which are being taken seriously now. When it comes to, let's say, a child couldn't get through well, and the child's good in, let's say, social applications. So if there's a subject where they have to proceed with applications, and let's say they are very thorough with that, so what they do is either send them by in the art stream, or by masonry or some other jobs like that. They never want to leave out a child jobless, so they never want to drop out a child like that. So it's always under the child's interest. So now if it's under art, they can master themselves in many ways, such as sculpture and whatnot, drama, and there's many more things. And when it comes to masonry, there's a art and skill which actually a lot of our so-called boss people do not know. So that's the main thing. So over there they teach the art and technique of masonry, which is actually good, and they earn a lot from masonry. Unlike in our country, we don't have schools for masonry. There's nothing like that, and I think we should have this type of stuff, because over there another thing is that, like, they take this masonry thing so seriously that they actually have a separate kit to do these type of things. While unlike our people who do not take their job seriously, these Bas fellows, they'll obviously come with a sarong and whatnot. Like they wouldn't like to take that thing seriously, which I think is wrong, because masonry is a thing which nobody can skill. Only a number of people can skill that, who can actually master that skill. And once they do it, they can actually build buildings and whatnot. So I think it's just really important that people in our country can also look into building universities and courses for this type of extra alternatives, such as these art and masonry stuff. And if we can actually bring this system into Sri Lanka, because I think it would help a lot of children. Because another thing that I want to bring out is, to be honest, like I've seen many children who have been going to these normal schools, and by the time they're in grade 7, they have 16 subjects. So just imagine what type of pressure that they'll be having. And obviously some are being scolded, hit for not getting good marks. But it's really hard, because when you're having a textbook of 30 pages and you study all that and you don't get marks, and the parents are behind your back, and they need you to get marks, but then actually you can't, because the whole content is too much. Not all children are same, so it's really hard for children to get along that way. So I think this whole system is done well, because the case is like this. Like if they give like 16 subjects and they tell you to choose the one that you are mainly good at and send you off from that stream, I think that's actually a good option. There's nothing wrong in that. But then in our case in Sri Lanka, you have 16 subjects, and the next thing you do when you go to O-levels is you get, I think, 12 subjects. That's in the national. So there's only just 4 subjects which are being dropped out. So the other 14, the other 10, you should be doing it with all your might, and you should somehow go to classes and whatnot, whack your head, and just day in day out sacrifice towards getting numerous amount of papers done. And that's how the Sri Lankan system is, which I think should be changed, because children should have the ability to go outside, play along with their neighbors and friends, and go and fly a kite. And there are many things that they can be doing during their small days, because no matter what, when we grow old, there's something that we can't take. Because like as I say, once you enter into your private life, when you're big and when you're married, you can't actually go back into school life and have that fun, right? So you need to always live in the moment. So another thing which I see in these year 5 scholarship students is that they aren't living in the moment. They are not. Some of them who are being forced upon to do this type of activities are not being able to live in the moment, because these type of children actually do not get to even ride their own bicycles, which something I've seen. So here's the thing in which they should implement this whole system. Like they can introduce this whole Japanese system to children who actually do not want to be stressed out and who actually don't show that much in education. But for the people who are legible enough and who are super nerds and all that stuff, who are willing to go by that system, by the year 5 scholarship system, should be able to go to be shown through that pathway. But then, as I said, if you are bringing this whole education system as one, I think this whole Japanese system would work, because I think any child would love to gain the knowledge that they need at the year 9 level and boost it off until they enter into a job. And another thing that I want to speak on is our country is actually only focusing on education, that there's no doubt, there's no support towards the whole sports side. So actually now when it comes to USA, we have basketball, baseball, all this stuff, football, athletics. They all earn they all earn lots of dollars as an income, and as a result, they don't need to go by education all the time. Like they can have education as a part-time thing, which to in order to get themselves qualified for a degree and all that stuff, whatnot. But then their main thing is that they're sports superstars and they earn loads of money from that side also, which I think is something we should bring in Sri Lanka, because in order to bring in the sports side in Sri Lanka, we should introduce sports universities, which I've been told that this government has been doing currently. They're going to be opening a couple of sports universities, and also they're going to be introducing new sponsors. They're going to be providing supplements. They need to be providing more physical trainers, more trainers from abroad, trainers who have actually built elite athletes who have been going to the World Championships, whatnot, Olympics and all these great games. And we should be bringing those type of trainers, and we should also, as I said, bring down these proper nutrition supplements and build more stadiums, practice venues, and keep a lot of tournaments and meets, and daily keep up with this stuff. And then I'm sure we can also build aside a revenue for sports also, because sports should also play a major part in many of these children's lives who actually do not have another sister, who do not have the passion to do subjects like that. So I don't see if our country can get all these elements together and come up together, they would obviously leave a single person dropping out or leaving a child jobless like that. And another thing that I wanted to mention about is between these sports stuff. Now, when it comes to Jamaica, here's a fun fact. When it comes to Jamaica, Usain Bolt is actually held as a tourist attraction. He himself is a tourist attraction towards the people who come to Jamaica. That's how much he has branded in the sport of athletics. Now, if we can tend to do that, now I think, as I said earlier, now our rugby team is in the position of earning glory now, as they've obviously been first in Asian Games and they're coming through a lot of obstacles. Our cricket team is so somewhat doing okay, but then likewise, as I said, they should be they're also in the correct way of earning money. Likewise, they should be doing this for all these other sports, because there are many children who are talented, who are so motivated to go further in that sport. They believe so badly in the sport that they tell their friends, no, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stop my studies and I want to continue this sport. I'm gonna somehow bring that gold medal or whatever, that glory towards Sri Lanka. And I think if we can do this with our sports people also, we can actually bring in bringing the whole tourist attractions towards Sri Lanka for that purpose also, to see all these numerous amount of athletes and all these superstars. So likewise, as I said earlier, if we can actually get all these children to focus on, if we can implement system to focus on the Japanese system, to as I said, to focus on all these various amount of subjects at their small days, and to get that one particular subject that they're good at, and to pass them out from that thing when they're at the level of grade 9, I think there would be no doubt for them to drop out from school. And also this masonry stuff and this art and sculpture, there are many things that they can do. So I don't think that they'll be ever in a needy way to drop out from college or do any of this stuff if they can follow these alternative paths. And also, as I said, bringing in these bringing the sports side is also essential. And yeah, so that part is also done. Now I would like to say at this moment, so if you have seen in numerous amount of cases now, people, this is mainly due to people who are being jobless, like really jobless, because like they don't have a proper income, they don't have education, and then they mainly focus on satisfying their actual needs, that they actually end up going in the wrong path, and they end up doing this mischievous stuff, and not mischievous, actually horrid, retarded stuff, and they end up becoming rapists, etc. Whatnot. I'll be talking about that section later on in a further podcast, further episode. But then, like, this is all about education. So that's why I said, if we implement that particular system, I'm sure that our children would not be able to drop out, or to be left alone jobless, or to be left alone without no hope. And I'm sure they'll be satisfied with whatever they do in their lives. And it's a key thing to always not let children under stress, no matter what. Parents should not keep that competition between one another, and also children should not have competition between one another, because we all learn from everybody. We all should learn, even if it's from a subordinate pupil, if it's from a person who's elder towards us. We should always learn facts from each person. There's no difference, because we all develop together as one, and we are united as one, and that's the main goal of our country. And another thing I wanted to talk about is that in Sri Lanka, when it comes to Sri Lankan culture, I think this is mainly, like, this is somewhat happening in some schools, but then some they don't teach sex education. Now why I'm saying this is because a lot of rural districts and all, they don't have sex education. They don't teach sex education, and what children do is ultimately, when they give their thoughts towards their desires, they end up getting pregnant at the ages of 15, 16, and then they have maternal help from there, and then they find it hard to carry on living with a baby and all that stuff, and they get rejected by parents, and there are many problems. So I think one of the main factors that the teachers should focus on is on sex education. They should be giving that out not only to international schools, but government schools, and to schools who are in the rural districts and all, and that's how it should be. And another thing is that they don't teach financial abilities. Now, why I'm saying financial abilities is because, I mean, people who do business studies and all that stuff is not going to have any problem or issues, but then, like, people who do science and all that stuff, they would not have even a single thought of how to pay a bill, or how to check their gross wage, or how to count the electricity reading. All these are general stuff that happen, take place within the house. How much they should keep the budget for without spending on for a month, and so on. They should actually teach this stuff for all these students, and I think that should be taught as a separate subject also. And another thing is that they do not teach children how to do day-to-day applications. Why I say day-to-day applications is because sometimes it might be a problem in your circuit board in house, and there is, unlike the brainy people, there are some children who actually do not know how to do it. So obviously what they'll do is they'll obviously wait until somebody else comes and fixes it for them, or otherwise they'll be just waiting their house without light, which is something that our education systems should actually focus on, because, as I said, these type of applications are some of the most guaranteed things that get you into a job. These are one of the most things that people check before they take a job, as a lot of people say it as soft skills, etc. And mainly what I want to bring out in this whole thing is, like, some of these people, they don't know how to even hold a knife or whatnot, like cut vegetables, and they don't know how to cook, make a tea. And so, like, in most of schools they brought out the subject of cookery and all that stuff, but then some schools they don't, and I think they should be able to bring these type of certain subjects and teach these children in these type of ways, and to bring this type of awareness in how to do this type of stuff. And it might be making going to a paddy field and making rice plants, so might be these are general stuff that you need to do in order to help another person in society, or to maybe change a tire or do something like that, just like basic applications. Like, might be to do something, to do some sort of thing in your roof, like maybe change a bulb, or do those sort of stuff. Like, children should be taught this stuff as a subject in the school, and how, as I said, how to deal with financial stuff. And as I said, sex education is one of the most main topics that they should reach out onto. And those are quite the most essential things which I think are the most most important things to change the education system in Sri Lanka. And I think if we do that, we can actually reach out a great amount of audiences within our country, and we can actually empower our children to move further on in life and to succeed on in life, as they would not take stress and all this stuff into their head, not build competition, not make their parents not build competition between one another, and having these sort of social awarenesses, and building these sort of good application, the ability of doing these type of applications in life. And as I said, mainly if we can implement this Japanese system of doing this whole grade 8 subject thingy, and also focusing on the sports side in this country, and bringing in sponsors for these type of athletes, and sponsor them and sponsor them to many championships, and keeping more tournaments for those people, and also building universities, or start courses for all these art and sculpture, and masonry especially, and make these subjects as pure professions. And I think we would not at last allow people to be held at a jobless state in their life, and to not let them give more attention towards unwanted desires, and to make them go into the wrong path, and to make them to make them do wrong stuff in society. And ultimately we would not have any, so we would minimize, like, I'm not saying we would actually clear off the whole thing, but then we would be minimizing the whole need of getting all these horrid people out of our country. We would actually this whole thing would deteriorate, as they would also find the income towards themselves, and they would be happy, because as I said, I'll be talking about that in a later video. But then as I said, that's it for today's episode, and I just want to bring all those points up. And as a wrap, as I always say, we are always together in this. We are always united as one. We are one country. We are the roaring lions of Sri Lanka, and we are somehow going to get this country through a lot, and we are somehow gonna come stronger than ever through this whole virus, and we are somehow gonna build Sri Lanka stronger than ever. And so this is my wrap, and this is my whole viewpoint of how the education system should be developed. And hope you enjoy this video, and hope you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hopefully this podcast has done some great knowledge towards you, has brought out some great knowledge towards you. Thank you, and have a nice day.